Morning, third grade. Happy Wednesday. We are on page 231, 232 in our math book. And today we're starting something brand new. And it's called decimals, okay? So for the next few days and into next week, we're gonna be looking at decimals. I love decimals, they're so much fun. And actually, they're very similar to what we've been doing. So decimals, let's look at the definition. A decimal is another way to write a fraction. So everyone feels good about fractions, right? Like what is 1/4? What is 2/10? What is 3/5, right? We all know what fractions are. Decimals are a way to write a fraction without the actual line and the number underneath it. So look at this, it's kind of interesting. So we've got here a dollar sign, right? $4.32. Well, 32 cents is part of a dollar, right? How many cents does it take to make a dollar? How many pennies do I need to make a dollar? 100, right? So 32 cents is the same thing as 32 over 100, 32 hundredths, okay? That's all a decimal is. So a decimal is writing a fraction with numbers and a dot, a point we call it, instead of having the line and a number underneath it, okay? So there's some special rules we're gonna learn on how to write decimals, but first I want you to know what a decimal is. So it's just another way to write a fraction, okay? Now, here's the fun part. Do you guys all know this is what, guys? This little, I'm gonna bring it close so you guys can see. This one, right? This little unit, when we're counting by units, this is 1, right? And I could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Once I get to 10, then I have these 10 rods, right? And I would need, let's see, I could have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Once I got 10 of them, then I would have a 100 square, right? Now, if I had 10 hundreds, what would that look like? Let me show you. Here are 10 hundreds all stacked up. Okay, they're 100 squares, but they're all stacked up, 10 hundreds. When I got 10 hundreds, then I would have 1,000, okay? All right, so we've got ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Remember we learned this last Friday? 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. If I went all the way up, we're actually gonna go smaller. So see how it gets bigger as you go this way? I can't magnet this to the board, but imagine, and then the next thing would be bigger than this, right? Well, look where decimals are. See how we have commas here? After the ones place, this is a decimal point. So I'm gonna write that. Right here, this is a decimal point, okay? It's the same decimal point that's right here, okay? That we see in $4.32. Here's my decimal point. All of these are new place values. So let's see what they're called. This one is called the, I'm gonna put it real close so you can read it, the tenths place. So it says 10 with THS, tenths. This is the hundredths place. And this is the thousandths place. So all three of these have THS at the end. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, it's kind of hard to say. It's like a tongue twister, right? Now you might say, Miss Roach, what's a tenth? What's a hundredth? What's a thousand? Well, guys, this is the fun part. It's taking this little one unit, and cutting it up into tiny pieces. So if I were to get my magnifying glass and look at this, I can see teeny tiny little lines on it, little cuts. And let me show you what it looks like when you look at it through a magnifying glass. It looks like this, except yellow. And see all the little lines and dashes in it, all the little things? That's what this looks like under a magnifying glass. So I want you to pretend, put on your imagination hat, and pretend that this is this. I just blew it up, okay? I enlarged it, okay? So this is the same as this little 1 unit. This is 1 unit. I just made it really big, but it's the same as this, okay? All right, so now I've got 1 unit, and I wanna cut this up into 10 pieces. So I'm gonna get my knife, let's pretend this is a knife, and I'm gonna slice it in 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I cut it into 10 slices. Okay, now use your imagination here. I magically turned it yellow again. Okay, so here is it's the same one. I just turned it yellow, but I cut it into 10 slices. Okay, so now I've got 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10. Okay, so see how I cut it into 10 pieces? Okay, I'm gonna take one of them, just one of those slices. Okay, grab a different one. So it's like one of these slices, right? I would have had 10 altogether. I'm just taking one of them. Here's one of those slices. This is 1/10, okay? So it's cutting this little guy into 10 slices and taking one of them, all right? So it's really small. Can you imagine getting a tiny knife and cutting a little tiny piece of this off? That's what 1/10 is. Okay, are you ready for what's next? What if I want to cut this now into 10 pieces? So this was my unit. Remember, I made it big, but this is a really small slice. It's the same. If I cut a little slice off of here, that's what this is, okay? So it'd be really tiny. Now I'm gonna cut this into 10 pieces. Ready? Let's get our knife. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, cut it into 10 pieces. It's hard to hold them when they're cut up. Okay, here is my square, right, my 1/10. And now I cut it into 10 more pieces, and I'm just gonna take one of them off. Woo! Okay, this is now 100th, okay? So if I took this and cut it into 10 pieces and took one of those slices and put it right here, that's 1/10. And then if I took one of those little slices and cut that into 10 pieces, then I would have 100th. Oh my gosh, can you even imagine what's coming next? If I cut this into 10 pieces, okay, then I would have 10 of these little guys. These are thousandths, okay? Now remember, we're using our imagination here, but if I had this cut into 10 pieces, took one, put it here, that's 1/10. Cut that into 10 pieces, took one of those, that would be 100th. And then if I cut that into 10 pieces and took one of them, that would be 1,000th. I want you to imagine what I'm saying here, guys. This 1 unit, imagine me cutting this into 1,000 pieces, you guys, and taking one little tiny, little scrap, little crumb of this, okay? That's how small 1,000th is. It's cutting this little guy into 1,000 pieces and taking one of them, okay? All right, so now that you know what decimals are, what is bigger? These numbers or decimals? These numbers, right? These numbers are so small, so tiny, okay? All right, now let's look at a couple more definitions here, and then we'll practice reading some decimals, okay? Because I want you to practice seeing how to read them. All right, so we know what a decimal is. It's another way to write a fraction. A mixed decimal is a whole number and a decimal. Let's see our whole number 4, and then we have a point, and then we have 3. The decimal point separates the whole number and the decimal, and we either say and or point. So I can say 4 and 3/10. I'm going to teach you how to read this in a second. Or I could say 4.3. Have you ever seen someone say 7.2 or 1.6, right? Whenever you hear the word point, that means decimal point. But a lot of times people will say and that's what I'm going to teach you guys in 3rd grade for math. We're always going to say and. We're not going to say point. So let me show you some cards, and we're going to practice reading them, okay? So this is 0.9, okay? When there's only one number after the decimal, we don't say point. We just say the number, and then we either are going to say tenths after it, hundredths after it, or thousandths after it. So let me show you where 0.9 would be on this decimal chart. I'm going to go like this. 0.9. Does my 0.9 match their 0.9? Yes. This is how we read this. We say the number, everyone say 9, and now say this after it. 9/10. 0.9 is the same thing as 9/10. Okay? Let's see if we can say a couple more. Okay, I'm gonna put this down. 0.8. If this was 9/10, what are we gonna say for this? 8/10. Good job. What would this be? 7/10, right? You getting the hang of this? What would this be? 6/10. All right? So when there's just one number, we just say the number and say tenths after it. 7/10, 8/10, 9/10. All right? Now if there's two numbers, so let's make this say 91 now, 0.91. Actually, I think I have that. Let's see. Or did I have 81? What do I do? Good. 0.91. Okay, so do you see how that matches? 0.91? All right, when there's two numbers after the decimal point, you don't say 91/10. Because there's two numbers, we have to say this word. Everyone say hundredths with me. Hundredths. Okay, this says 91/100ths. Now let me show you what that would look like as a fraction. Just like this, 91 over 100. So this says 91/100ths. Okay, let's try another one. 81, there's two numbers, so we're gonna say this word, 81/100ths. Good job. What's this gonna be? 71/100ths. What would this be? 61/100ths. Ooh, now we've got three numbers. 131. Can you guess what we're gonna say after this one? Yeah, I'm gonna change it so it matches. Okay, 0.131. Does it match? 0.131, 0.131. Okay, when there are three numbers after a decimal point, we're gonna say the last word. What does this word say? Thousandths. Everyone say it after me. Thousandths, because it's cut into 1,000 pieces. Okay, so this is 131 thousandths. And look, 131 thousandths. These are the same. This fraction is exactly equal to this decimal. Okay, they mean the exact same thing. So if I said, which one's bigger, this side or this side? You would say, Miss Roach, they're the same. These are equal. Okay, let's do another one. Three numbers, so we're gonna say the same as that, except we're gonna put thousands. Okay, ready? Or this with thousands. 121 thousandths. Good job. Ooh. 111 thousandths. 111 thousandths. Ooh, this is tricky. How do I read this number? Do I say 031 or 031? No, I just say 31. Everyone say 31 with me. 31. But how many numbers are there after the decimal? Let's count. 1, 2, 3. If there are 3 numbers, we have to say the third word, thousandths. So this is 31 thousandths. Let's try this one. 21 thousandths. Okay, ooh, now we got something tricky. All right, so now we're looking at the mixed decimal. Remember, the mixed decimal has a whole number and a decimal, like 4.3, okay? We're gonna do this, but we're not gonna say 4.9. We're gonna say and whenever we see this decimal. So ready? You say it with me. 4 and 9, and because there's only one number, we're gonna say this. 4 and 9/10. Remember when there's only one number after the decimal, we say tenths, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10. So we're gonna do the same thing here. 4 and 9/10. Let's try another one. Only one number, so let's say tenths at the end. 3 and 7/10. Let's see how that looks. 3 and 7/10. Isn't that how a mixed number looks? When we have a mixed fraction, when we have a whole number and a fraction, 3 and 7/10. Let's do this one. 1 and 1/10. 1 and 1/10. 2 and 3/10. 2 and 3/10. Okay, guys, so this is a first day introduction. We are gonna practice this every day, and when we get our paper right now, we're gonna practice that also. Look really quick at this just as a quick reminder. So 7/10, 7/10 is the same as 0.7. We would read this 7/10 because there's only one number after the decimal. 7/100 is the same as 7/100, 0.07. Because there are 2 numbers, we say hundredths. Oh, there are 3 numbers in this one. So what are we gonna say? Thousandths. 7 thousandths is written 0.007. We read it the same as this though, 7 thousandths. So everyone say 7/10. 7/10. 7/100, 7/100, 7 thousandths, 7 thousandths. Good. So the trick on decimals is putting that THS after it at the end. Okay, guys? All right, let's get our paper. We're just gonna do the front together, and the back, we'll do some extra, like just a couple for review, but we're mostly gonna focus on the front today because this is our new lesson. All right, so let me share my screen. And we will fill these blanks in together. Okay, all right, so here we go. I'm gonna jump right down to here because we've already talked about that box above. Okay, so it says fill in the blanks. For additional problems, see supplementary exercises, page 333. In the back of your math book, guys, there's a whole bunch of review pages that I'm gonna actually talk to your parents about for the summer to do extra practice, but they're saying today, if you want to do more, if you really are liking this, go to that and try some, and then when I do our phone call tomorrow, we can go over this. Okay, so let's look at 1A. A blank blank separates the whole number from the decimal number. What do we call that little dot? What do we call this little dot right here? We call it a decimal point. Okay, let's all write that word right here. A decimal point separates the whole number from the decimal number. Okay, let's go to our next one. The first place to the right of the decimal point is the blank place. So remember looking at my cards, what was the one right next to the black magnet, the point? It's the tenths place. Now this is how to spell it. T-E-N-T-H-S. THS. Everyone make sure you spell it right. Spelling counts. The first place to the right of the decimal point is the tenths place. We technically put a little apostrophe after the S. All right, let's look at the second one. The second place to the right of the decimal is the hundredths place. Now, let's look how we spell hundred. Hundred is like that, and then we just add THS after it. The hundredths place. That's the hardest one to say. All right, and then the next one, the third place to the right of the decimal point is the thousandths place. Thousand, THS, thousandths place. Okay, if you need to pause the video and finish copying that a little more slowly, you can. If you're still with me, then go ahead and move on to the next part. All right, so we are gonna read these decimals and we're gonna circle the digit in the tenths place. When I call you on the phone, this is what I want you to be able to read all these to me. So let's practice right now. I'm gonna highlight as we read, okay? I say it and then you copy me, okay? 3/10, 3/10. 621 thousandths, 621 thousandths. Because there's three numbers, we have to say thousandths. 0 and 6/10. You say it? 0 and 6/10. Let's do G. 0 and 731 thousandths. 0 and 731 thousandths. Let's try the next row. 38 hundredths. 38 hundredths. 579 thousandths. 579 thousandths. 0 and 42 hundredths. 0 and 42 hundredths. 12 and 62 hundredths. 12 and 62 hundredths. Okay, good job repeating, guys. Let's go ahead and circle the tenths place. Now remember, the tenths place, the tenths place is always right next to the decimal point. So find the decimal point and circle the number right next to it. So what's right next to the decimal point? The 3. What's right next to the decimal point? The 6. The 6, the 7, the 3, the 5, the 4, and the 6. So if you find the decimal point, you look at the digit to the right of it. Okay, friends, let's look at the next part. Match by drawing lines. Okay, I like to read the word and then match it. So let's read the word together. 4/10. Which of those says 4/10? That's right. That says 4/10. Go ahead and draw a line to it. Okay, let's read the next one. 3 thousandths. 3 thousandths. Which one shows 3 thousandths? That's right, this one down here. There's a 3, and because there's 3 numbers after the decimal point, we have to say thousandths. Okay, let's try the next one. 3 and 8/10. 3 and 8/10. Okay, where's that? Good, right here. 3 and 8/10. Let's try the next one. 7/10. 7/10. Oh, there's only one 7, right? So that helps. Next one. 38 hundredths. 38 hundredths. Ooh, right there. Those ones were a little tricky because one says 3.8 and one says 0.38. So that one is 38 hundredths. Now, you could read this 2 ways. You could say 38 hundredths, or you could say 0 and 38 hundredths. Both are correct. All right, 24 hundredths. 24 hundredths, there we go. And the last one, 6 2/10. There it is, 6 2/10. All right, give yourself a clap. If you felt at all overwhelmed or nervous about this, that's totally normal. And we are gonna practice every time that I talk to you on the phone, and actually every reading group. We're gonna practice reading these decimals and understanding it. So don't worry, just look at it as, oh, this is something new, and my brain is gonna stretch and learn this as we go, okay? But don't feel overwhelmed at all. It's okay for this to have been a confusing lesson. It might even be good to re-watch the video from this point on, rewind it and watch it again, maybe not today, but maybe tonight or tomorrow even before your next math lesson. Sometimes it helps to hear it a second time. That's the good thing about these videos. Okay, because this was such a concentrating brain day, I am going to let you pick any 5 problems on the back here. All right, try to pick ones from different sections, okay? Any 5. After you do those 5, you're done with math, okay, friends? All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, if it will let me. Okay, all right. And guys, whew, that was tricky business today. So don't feel overwhelmed. Feel like I did a good job today paying attention to Miss Roach, okay? If you felt like you were half listening and sort of got it, sort of didn't, I would rewind that. Take a break though, maybe in an hour, and re-watch this, because it is, sometimes when you hear it a second time, it kind of goes in. And mom or dad might be able to sit next to you and explain it also. If you're having trouble hearing me or what I'm pointing to on the board, and sometimes they can put in their little extra explanation, and sometimes that helps. Okay, guys? All right, I hope you have a great rest of your day today. On Wednesday, we have reading groups and our math, and that's it, okay? All right, guys, we'll see you in a reading group in just a bit. Bye-bye.